What is up, Bitcoiners? This is CK with another Bitcoin Magazine interview. This week, I have an extremely timely interview with one of the most important people in the Bitcoin space, at least in my opinion. We have the CEO of Paxful, Youssef, coming back on the show to give us an update about everything P2P and Paxful. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on. You guys ask the tough questions, and I like that.
Awesome. So I guess let's start with the current state of P2P finance, and maybe even in a quick introduction into to P2P finance for the listeners. What has been happening in P2P finance with Bitcoin and Paxful since kind of Corona has hit the world?
Well, the initial shock of it hit everyone, right? And I think everyone in every industry across the board saw a market decline in revenue and business. We saw about a 10 to 20% decline that first month in March. But since then, I think it's been growing anywhere from 5 to 20% every month, depending on the month. So people are, once they adjusted to the shock, they're like, hey, what can we do? Oh, there's Paxful. We can make money online. Let's do it. And people have been taking to it with great gusto. So it should make us all feel a lot better about ourselves. We're definitely in the right business, in the right place, in the right time. And we are coming to people's aid. So things are going well, very well, for Paxful, for peer-to-peer especially, and for Bitcoin. I think we're going to see a big bull run soon.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess talking about that, like you guys are primarily operating in Africa, Latin America, stuff like that. Like where are you, are you seeing any trends in any of these countries and regions?
Absolutely. Just remarkable growth across the board, especially in Africa and India. Africa is leading peer-to-peer Bitcoin adoption still. Global Bitcoin searches, number of transactions, Africa is leading the way. Our influencer network over there, we call them Paxful peers. They have grown tremendously. We've seen double signups, tremendous interest. People are looking to create a business for themselves, to earn money for themselves online. And here we are. And it's a perfectly legitimate, sustainable business model. And people figure that out. They're really excited because readers might not understand, your listeners might not understand, but Africa has had a problem with Bitcoin. When you say Bitcoin in Africa, everyone immediately looks at you like you're the devil because everyone's been scammed in a multi-level marketing scam, crypto mining scam, or knows someone that has been scammed. So when we tell them that, hey, there's a new investment opportunity here, but it's not an investment. It's using Bitcoin as a means of exchange, right? You can build your own financial services business on top of a platform like Paxful. People are very open and receptive to that, especially young people. And we started giving this message out 4 years ago when we went to Africa. Last year, we did a campus tour, and I was really inspired by all those young people and how they took to it, this new opportunity with great acumen once they understood it. So absolutely, this is only going to help crypto, and crypto is only helping the world right now. So it's a good time for us and for people, despite what's going on.
When's the last time you, or have you been to Africa since the COVID crisis kind of hit?
No, I have not. I was planning to actually go there for 6 months and stay there from March till the end of the year. That didn't happen, unfortunately, because of COVID. But we're shooting now for January when they say it's safe to go back, and we're going to open up our 2 schools in Africa. We already finished a school in Kenya, but we can't open it because of COVID. And we're also building a school in Nigeria now as well, and it'll be open by January. So January, when we're looking to make another campus tour in Africa and do a great deal of things in Africa, opening up schools, opening up several new wells, huge partnerships, and really bringing the African people into the conversation, not just as users, but as actual participants in this new economy that we're building. And what we're seeing is Africans are very receptive to the message now. Even African banks are reaching out to us now. So there is a great deal of uptake here, where the regulators are still trying to figure things out. The people are all ready to dive in here, and they're just looking for a path. They're looking for leadership. They're looking for mentors, looking for trusted sources of information. So it's absolutely an enormous time, and it really is a gold rush. People are kind of distracted by what's happening in DeFi right now, but Africa is the place, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I I feel like DeFi kind of distracts a small number of people on Twitter, and maybe, I mean, maybe it's bigger even in Asia, but I feel like for the most part, Bitcoin is still the internet clearing layer for value and the most liquid crypto. So I can imagine that for your use cases where liquidity is so important, that Bitcoin is the most useful currency.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why we supported solely Bitcoin for so long, because we believe that all the momentum should be behind this one clearing layer. And that's really what's going to give us, maximum reach to reach everyone, especially the mainstream.
So I guess kind of on that subject, you guys recently announced that you were integrating the most liquid stable coin, which is Tether. It is kind of a divergence from what you've been doing previously, which is Bitcoin as the only kind of main trading pair on Paxful. Can you talk a little bit about that decision?
Absolutely. So it's really simple. Here at Paxful, we have three values. And the first value is the most important, staying connected to the streets. And that means you have to actually listen to people, have conversations with them. The CEO of the company, I do customer support every single day, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, Telegram, anywhere and everywhere. And I suppose I want to understand what our people need, what our customers need, what our community needs. And they've been asking for Tether. Why? Because USD is still the reserve currency of the world. Bitcoin is highly volatile. People just want a way to transact. And Tether, honestly, in most cases, does a better job of that than Bitcoin. So it's a no-brainer. Our people are asking for it, we're going to add it. If our people are asking for things like Dash or Ripple or BCH or Ethereum, and those communities, those crypto communities actually had a real community that they built up with real use cases, then we'll add them as well. We're not maximalists here, we're optimalists. Ultimately, it's not about the technology, it's about the people. And if the technology can solve a problem for those people, and those people behind the technology, most importantly, have built up a real community around real use cases, then we're absolutely open to adding that to Paxful.
So, kind of on that, I would like to get a better insight into kind of like Tether usage. Obviously, it is new on Paxful, so I'm assuming that it hasn't really kind of permeated throughout the platform in terms of volume and stuff like that. But can you talk about like Tether versus Bitcoin on the Paxful platform?
It's actually gotten remarkably good uptake. We've been pretty surprised by how fast people have taken to it. We've done a very slow, controlled rollout of it. We just launched it to all Americans today, but it's going to be we haven't launched it out to everyone in the world yet, but we will. And once that happens, we're going to really bring out a lot of educational materials there, and we think we could see a market increase in volume. I wouldn't be surprised in the future if USD Tether volume eclipsed Bitcoin volume, not in the wallet because it's $22 to send Tether right now on the Ethereum blockchain because of the gas fees, but in the marketplace, definitely. Because again, Tether has most of the advantages of Bitcoin without the disadvantage of the volatility. And we're talking about real people that are in it for non-speculative use cases. It's a superior tool. That's the truth. So it's been doing very well, actually, and it's been growing. We think we're going to see exponential growth there by the end of the year.
That's very interesting. So, I mean, there's definitely trade-offs, right? It like doesn't have the same censorship resistance as Bitcoin, but most of these people aren't gonna, get blacklisted by Tether. It'd only be people that are targets in the United States or some other big organization that may end up on that list. It and obviously is tied to any third-party risk that is attached to Bitfinex and the Tether group. I'm kind of curious, like in the long game, how does Tether success, stablecoin success, the demand for that in the P2P sense, like how does that impact your Bitcoin thesis?
I think it proves the case, actually, because look at what it is. It is a tool, it's a clearing layer, and it's solving real problems for real people. And we've been saying the entire time, Bitcoin to be success does not need to be a store of value for everything. You don't need to be using it to buy coffee for it to be a success. It doesn't have to be a worldwide currency. All it needs to be is the clearing layer between all other currencies. That is a killer use case for Bitcoin and really for all of crypto because it's such a massive, massive need. Essentially, we are in the business of curing financial apartheid, right? And this is the thing that has kept the world economy, especially the countries of the markets of the global south, in poverty for so long. It's apartheid, but it's with money, right? If you're black or brown, your money is not as good as the white people's money. And that's the truth. They can control how much money of your money they can get. And if they try to get too much of your money by selling their money goes down in value. And then the whole economy suffers. And that is the reality that every head of state in the global south has to live with. Now, the people are not being held hostage by that because there's some other vehicle that they can use to access outside liquidity. Before that, if you're in Egypt, for example, we were both born in Egypt, right? Egypt is a money prison. It is literally impossible to get money out of that country. It's
Yeah,
also
I've
a
watched
prison.
my grandma try to do it.
Exactly. So
It takes
right
a lot
there,
of jumping through hoops.
yes, it's almost impossible. You can't, we in the West can't imagine what people in those countries have to go through. But now here with Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, Tether, and whatever other crypto comes around that manages to solve this problem expediently, builds a real community around it of real people, then that's the one to go for, really. We're in a very different place right now. I'll always love Bitcoin. We'll always put the vast majority of our momentum behind it and support behind it because it is the spine that holds everything together. But right now, it's all about building communities. That is the work, product and communities. People in crypto seem to forget that. They're all too busy playing off with in their own little worlds, but we're in the real world. So we'll always adjust what the real world wants.
All right. I mean, I think that those are fair question or fair answers and questions. I'm curious. Like, do you see risk with the fact that Tether is kind of tied to a centralized bank account and all those kind of things? Is there like any sort of like systemic risk that gets added by including Tether deeply within the like on the platform?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's look at Tether as an entity. What is it? It was started by the guys at Bitfinex. Okay, brilliant move. They created a tremendous amount of liquidity. Where is their money being held? Who has audited their finances? I'm not, I think it's a bank in the Caribbean, DTEC, I believe it's still at. And I don't believe anyone has really audited their books. I believe the firm that did it had a board seat on Tether. So all that's pretty iffy. And if Uncle Sam wants to come after them, believe me, he will shut them down. And it might only be a matter of time before that happens. So to that effect, we've seen the power of stable coins. We'll probably be adding another stable coin as a backup, USDC as well. So there's definitely a risk there. I don't know what to say to the people there. This is, the people of the emerging South, they're willing to take risks and pay extra just to be able to transact and do what they need to do. And if Tether opens it, gives them up a path to moving their money out and doing what they need to do with their money, they're willing to take the risk. Because otherwise, you're like a dude in Cairo sitting there with all this money that he cannot get out of the country, trapped. And as people know, that's a fate worse than death for most business people. So there are risks, but the benefits far outweigh the risks. And that's the word from the street.
Absolutely. Okay. I mean, all that is fair. And I guess, trying to bring this conversation full circle and talking about LATAM, Paxful was one of the biggest P2P marketplaces in Venezuela, which is one of the biggest use cases in places that are, using Bitcoin as financial infrastructure. Recently, sadly, Paxful had to announce that you pulled out of Venezuela. I'm assuming that wasn't a very easy decision made by the Paxful leadership. Can you talk a little bit about having to do that?
Yeah, so there's an OFAC list. That's like the naughty list, right? If America doesn't like you, they put you on the naughty list. It's called OFAC. And there are various grades of the naughty list, right? Venezuela was in the gray area. Iran is still in the blackest of the black, right? So no one can touch them, right? Venezuela has recently been upgraded, or rather downgraded, to the blacklist. That's basically what's happening. The sanctions are getting more and more severe and strict on the people of Venezuela as they're continuing to suffer. This is not something that my heart wanted to do. Believe me, the people of Venezuela have been suffering tremendously. Imagine losing your family's life savings in a week. That's the reality for people over there. But we, as an American company, we have to obey the sanctions, right? And Venezuela has been downgraded to the blacklist, right there with Iran. Maybe not quite as bad, but it's there. And you'll see other companies following suit as well if they have an American presence. That's just the nature of the game. We're in the era of compliance right now, and things are continuing to clamp down on us. So it's a constant race. You know, we give up Venezuela. Okay, we can't help the people there directly anymore. It's painful. The first step is that they made us actually ban the top Venezuelan bank from our platform. We had to do that because they got on the sanction list. Then more stuff getting added to the sanction list, making it nearly impossible to deal with the people of Venezuela, making it, we need to increase the size of our compliance team by 10x to be able to cover them. And we weren't doing very well there. I mean, we weren't, Venezuela, the rent in Venezuela is $2 a month. Like, let that number sink in. So it's not that much, it can't justify the cost. We've been taking losses with gift card trading in Africa. Why? Because it's the only way to onboard the unbanked. So we're willing to take that risk. For the people of Venezuela, they have other avenues. So we just had to make the decision. It was a business decision, a painful one, but it's one of those that we had to make, unfortunately. And other companies will also follow suit in the future, possibly now.
Yeah, and again, I think that this is obviously something where your hand was forced. How does Bitcoin go beyond this? Like, how does Bitcoin get to the stage where there's infrastructure that can't be banned that anyone can tap into? And what are the biggest constraints that's kind of stopping the Bitcoin ecosystem from getting there?
Well, Bitcoin can do that right now, right? If anyone takes the time to learn how to use Bitcoin, acquire Bitcoin, which is easy on places like Paxful, it's easy to sell it too. But the acquiring of Bitcoin and sending it out, that's all possible right now. Nothing that's permissionless. No one is going to stop you. The problem is it's not easy. Bitcoin is still very, very difficult to use and difficult to acquire for most people, especially in the emerging South. We built an entire business on making it easy to use. So when you take players like Paxful out of that game, you really raise the barrier to entry tremendously to that space, because the technology itself is amazing. It works, but it's simply not people friendly. That's the truth. It's been the truth since the beginning. And there's still there are not enough product people jamming away and focusing on very clean, simple onboarding and UI UX. That has to continue to happen. And I hope anyone who's listening to this will take that challenge and run with it. And hopefully, if you're an awesome PO or designer, join Paxful. We can certainly use your help. There's plenty of other places out there that need help besides Venezuela, because these inflationary attacks, these currency wars, the dark side is not relaxing the currency wars. They're stepping it up to a whole new level, right? So it's a race. We're going to have to stay ahead of all these limitations and blockades while still building out the simplest, most user-friendly structure around the blockchain that we possibly can. DeFi gives us an opportunity to do that, right? So I think it's a great place for people to focus on. And again, don't focus on the dark side, speculation, pumps and dumps, and all these meme tokens. Focus on the right side, the light. Focus on building real applications, real products for real people that are easy to use. That is the key.
And I mean, like, you've been in the Bitcoin game, in the Bitcoin entrepreneurship space. Am I correct? 2013 is when you started.
Yes.
So I mean, it's been close to 8 years now, going on 8 years. You know, the Bitcoin space has evolved a lot. Are you are you surprised? Are you proud of what has been built? Are you disappointed? Like, what are you what have can you reflect a little bit on the past kind of 8 years of building, and then maybe after that we can talk about what you foresee in the future.
Well, I'm very proud of the people of the global South, particularly Africa and India as well. They've really taken things with tremendous gusto. They've overcome that trauma of all the negative press and all the scams, and they actually found a way to make Bitcoin useful for themselves, and they taught us what Bitcoin's killer app is. So in that sense, I'm incredibly impressed by the acumen, ingenuity of our customers in peer-to-peer in the global South. While the whole industry has been on a roller coaster ride of speculation, we have been steadily building up. So I'm very impressed by that. That is beautiful. And I estimate within 2 years or less, peer-to-peer volume will eclipse centralized exchange volume. Where I am not impressed and seriously disappointed is in crypto scene itself. It's been 8 years, and still the best minds in the space are working on all these, vacuous, nebulous technologies, not focused on product, not connecting to the streets, still seemingly anemic to the streets. There's only a handful of companies that have, like, you can count them on two hands, that have built actual communities, user bases, and are serving along real use cases. We can do a hell of a lot better than that. And if you want to do better than that, come to me, come to Paxful. We're the guys that are making it happen on the street, on the front lines, every single day. No excuses, no complaining about anything, just making it happen and working within the framework that we're given and trying to create a new framework above that. And that's the key.
So jumping into maybe what you see going forward, what trends are exciting you, and what are you anticipating for these next 18 months?
Well, for us, it's about scaling up our products. We have this incredible wallet, which is very simple and easy to use. It's going to be the Hotmail of crypto. That's what we're positioning it as, because we have all this experience with people who are not technical at all, and they want to get into this new thing. Here's how you do it. Our marketplace, making that safer, increasing our support, and building new products around that marketplace, right? Because let's face it, Paxful is a great system as far as a peer-to-peer Bitcoin platform. It's the easiest to use by far, but it's still far too complex for the average person. The average person doesn't want to deal with the complexities of crypto or with peer-to-peer trading or with chats in a trade chat. They don't want to deal with that. They just want to get their things done. So what we need, what's exciting me, is that there's a new focus on product in crypto, and we have something to do with that. So we're putting together an amazing product team to be able to do that, and that's exciting. DeFi is also incredibly exciting. I will come out right now and say I think DeFi is the next layer on top of the Bitcoin blockchain that is being built. So if you think about banks, they provide us with two things. They provide us with a payment network, which sucks. They can't do that properly at all. And they also provide us with lending services, right? And that's where they make their money. DeFi basically takes all those lending services, takes it out of Wall Street's hands, and is giving us the potential to have wall world. So ignore all the DeFi, meme token nonsense, like almost all scams, and look at the technology. Look at the ability to actually take the bread and butter of Wall Street, these brokerage firms, and put it on 800 lines of smart contract code so that anyone anywhere in the world can use it. That is absolutely tremendous. It's a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for educators right now. Huge opportunity for designers, people that can take this amazing structure that's been built and make it simple and accessible for people of the emerging world. And Paxful is also focused on that as well. Because at the end of the day, it's not the fact that it's decentralized or not that people care about. They just care if it works, and if it works for them, meaning they don't have to ask or wait for permission to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the permissionless nature is really kind of like the key thing that people don't identify. There's all these other features that they think the world wants, but I really think that that is where, that's the distinction between the current system, the legacy system, and what we're building is permissionlessness, right? And it's going to be the permissionless system versus the permission system all the way until the permissionless system hopefully wins. How do you feel about like that mental framework?
That is the game. There's no denying it, right? Because this broken financial system that we have, even in the West, right? It was created before mobile phones were even invented, right? And the African people have managed to leapfrog ahead of all that nonsense using online wallets like M-Pesa, et cetera, which is wonderful. However, they still have these massive blockades when they try to interact with the Western world, and business is not allowed to flow freely. At the end of the day, our mission is really to restore a free money market. Like, money should flow freely throughout the world, but it can't because we have this financial apartheid here. DeFi is one of the cures for that, but it's very, you have to tread very lightly here, right? Because you have You know, you have Uncle Sam out there, you have all these compliance agencies all over the world watching this, still trying to figure it out. And here we are moving at breakneck speed. I think every 10 minutes a new Y token comes out, right? But these people are only thinking about one thing, making money off speculation, right? They're not trying to build real products. It takes a very rare individual to actually have the integrity and humbleness to talk to people on the streets, look at their problems, and then take this immensely complex technology and create something that, you know, crosses both worlds. That's the game we're playing. We are literally on the razor's edge of trying to bring this new world and bring out all this value out of the old world and to help all these people. It's a challenge, brother, but we can do it. We really can. We're doing it right now. It's just we need those synthesizers, those people that are going to bring all this together, that have the vision and the balls to do that, and the humbleness to actually interact with humans while they're doing it, because there's no other way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I personally, I love talking to you because I'm just inspired by your practitioner mindset and just get out there and get on the streets and make it work. I want to finish up the interview by asking, like, how do you do it? Because you might be one of the most productive people I've ever met. You are so on top of what's going on in the greater crypto space. You're so on top of what's going on in Bitcoin. And then on top of that, you're building an amazing company. You're doing, you're working on every little aspect of the business all the way to support. You work at all hours of the day. I think you jumped on at like 3 in the morning for a stream for Bitcoin Magazine. I'm just kind of curious, like how do you manage, this firestorm that's always kind of happening, and how do you get so much done?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Not having a social life is a part of that, but I've managed to squeeze in a little bit of that. I got divorced because I had to choose between my marriage and this mission. I made that choice. Not asking anyone else to do that, but everyone's different. Look, I just have to do this. I don't really have a choice. If I don't do this, I'll lose my mind. That's basically the mission that I'm on. I've accepted this mission, right? As nasty and as difficult as it is, it's possible. And it's the greatest achievement of the past 100 years if we can do this all together, to break, to shatter this wall of financial apartheid. If we do this, humans will have abundance. There won't be any more wars because people won't have to fight over things. We live in a world of abundance. And that dream of everyone being happy, of no one being oppressed or judged because of things that they can't change, of wiping out this financial supremacism and all this darkness, that animates me. That keeps me going. I can't imagine a life where I didn't have that kind of battle to fight. You know, I'm one of those nerds that grow up playing all those role-playing games, you know, very epic in nature, right? You start off and you've got a little wooden sword in this little village and you have to fight the little monsters out there until you make it all the way to that last boss, right?
The hero's
Most
journey.
people, exactly, yeah. A lot of people in this world, they'll pump up the stats and they'll be happy to be the king of that first village. But no, I'm going for that last boss, right? Because once that boss is out of the picture, people will be happy. I'll be able to turn to my family and they'll be happy. Everyone around us will be happy. Everyone will have things. There won't be any more need or desire for things, but we'll have everything we need. That is very possible. I know that. So if I know that's possible and I don't strive for it with everything I have, I can't validate my existence on this planet. That's just how I think as a person. I know that's different from how other people think about life, but that's just the culture here at Paxful. Me and Artur, my co-founder, we bonded over this. We're on a mission. We're going to burn the boats and we're going that way. We're not going back the other way. No way. That's it. That's the best way I can put it.
That's awesome. That's very beautiful, and thank you for doing what you do. Truly, like I'm always inspired, and I feel blessed that a fellow Egyptian is building
Yeah.
Paxful. Ray, where could people find you, and who do you want to hear from?
I want to hear from the best talent out there, particularly if you're good at driving product, if you want to build amazing things for people, like a mini CEO. That's what a product owner is. We need leaders at Paxful. I want leaders. You don't have to be that experienced. You don't have to be that technically sound. You just have to be driven and animated, and we will invest in you. I want those people. I want to create this next generation here. We're building 100 schools in Africa for a reason, right? Because eventually I want to have that school for gifted children. I want to create a new generation of geniuses and uplift an entire continent. So I'm looking for those those real leaders, right? The true believers, just come out and find me. I'm Ray Paxful on Twitter, Ray Paxful on Telegram, on Instagram, ray@paxful.com. I'm not going to give you my personal phone number on WhatsApp, but I'm sure you'll find me in any of those other channels. Reach out to me. And if you like building things, if you're a builder and if you don't take excuses for things, if you're that kind of person that, got out of college and you were just raring to go and go to these companies, you're like, what is this? This is just a bunch of potatoes sitting around doing nothing and playing political games. You've been yearning for some place to go where you can actually change the world. Come to me. Come to me, because I'm just like you. And we built a place here that is perfect for people like us that want to actually build things in the real world with no excuses to given and no fucks given either.
Awesome. Well, amen to that. Again, thank you for coming on the show, Ray. Always a pleasure. And again, for the listeners, reach out to Ray. Like, he's a very approachable person. I've worked with him just because he's so open. So really encourage you to don't be shy. You guys can find me at CK_snarks. You can find the podcast at Bitcoin Magazine. Make sure to like, share, review, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening. Peace.